Yeah, don't worry, even though this is a Guy Ritchie movie, it has none of that. So Aladdin 2019 is a live-action reimagining of the 1992 movie. It has Mina Musad as Aladdin, it has Naomi Scott as Jasmine, and it has Will Smith as the genie. So the opening of this movie is really strong. I thought it was a very good adaptation of the animated version where the genie is the one telling the story. Really, really strong start. And I wish I could say that that was the case for the rest of the film. I'm gonna try not to bash this film. It's really not bad. However, I have much more to say on the negatives than I do the positives, and I don't want it to seem like I'm just gonna trash on it. That being said, we're gonna do things a little bit backwards. I'm gonna start with the negatives and then do the positives, which is different than what I normally do, just because I think I want to end this on a good note. So I really don't want you guys to get the wrong impression of this movie. This film is a mess of three different things. It's trying to be a musical number at some points, and it's trying to be a remake at some points, and then at other points it is trying to be its own thing. Now, when this movie is trying to do those things individually, it works great. When it's doing the musical numbers, it is fantastic. It knows very well when to go into these musical numbers, which is very rare when you have a musical that is being adapted into a movie. It's really hard to get that Broadway feel, but make it natural for the big screen. In this movie, I will say that that's a strength. Now, when it's trying to do its own thing, when it's trying to be its own imagining, its own adaptation, again, that's done really well. I really liked some of the original ideas that were put in this movie. When it's trying to be just a direct remake, some of the callbacks feel a little forced and feel a little too scripted, but other than just a few here and there, most of the times when it is trying to be a direct remake, it's actually doing a very good job as well. However, it's trying to juggle these three things, and it does not do that well. It is confused on, it's like, hey, I'm trying to be Aladdin the musical, I'm trying to be Aladdin the remake, I'm just trying to be Aladdin the new version for 2019. The pacing is atrocious in this movie. It's so I made that joke at the beginning with Guy Ritchie's editing style, but this movie doesn't do that with it visually, but it does that with the storytelling. There's so many times in this movie where it is going fast. It's going really fast. I mean, from the beginning to the Cave of Wonders felt like it was all within the first 10 minutes, and then it stops, and then it really wants to tell you a little bit of a story. And then it goes fast again, and you're thinking, I was like, oh, okay, it's like, you know, from the cartoons, like, that was their check, that was their check, that was their check, and then it stops again. It's like, all right, let's tell a little bit about the story, let's tell you a little bit more about Aladdin, let's tell you a little bit more about Princess Jasmine. Pacing is all over the place. It is fast, it is slow, it is fast, it is slow, and it never brings you to a comfortable level of storytelling. Along with the story pacing and that being a mess, that really messes up our characters. There's many times where I just did not feel that a conflict between two characters was earned, and another time where a positive relationship between two characters was earned. The characters don't feel like they're developing properly. Let's talk about our cast a little bit. Mina Musad, this is the first time I've ever seen him. I actually really like him as Aladdin. However, he comes off as an interpretation of Aladdin, not being Aladdin. He comes off as a guy playing Aladdin, unfortunately. He feels like he has, throughout the whole movie, like he has on his mind, you know, how can I best represent the cartoon Aladdin? He never made it his own character. He never felt naturally like Aladdin, and that's a shame, because I really think this guy had just the potential to be an amazing Aladdin. Naomi Scott, she actually feels like Princess Jasmine, but the one thing that is off is the way that she talks. Now, she actually speaks a lot more naturally than Mina Mossad. However, they made her cover up her accent for this movie. It seems that her only other accent other than her actual accent is teenage rebel. And that does not work for this movie because it almost comes off as Aladdin speaking a little bit more proper than the princess. Other than that, I think she was actually really good. She actually did a good job of making me believe that this character is trapped inside this palace, does not get to go out much, and has a lot of anger and rebellion, not particularly to her father, just to her situation, and wants to break free of it. So I really like that. Will Smith as the genie. It was actually really enjoyable in my opinion. I think he did a really good job embracing the character and making it his own thing. I do feel like he was held back a little bit. I feel like production was more holding him back as far as, no, you're doing too much to that stepping into Robin Williams territory. Here's the thing, you got to remember that the original character of the genie was written around Robin Williams. If we're gonna honor Robin Williams, and also honor the cartoon, you got to understand that a lot of the lines, a lot of the charisma that the genie has is Robin Williams based. Literally, Robin Williams is the genie. That's how the original was written. So I feel like they should have let Will Smith embrace the genie just a little bit more. Alan Tudyk as Iago in this is wasted. And that's a shame because he is actually a really good voice talent. He's a really good actor, and the lines that he gave him, or I guess the way they wanted him to read the lines, just were very flat. It could have been anything. He sounded just like a generic parrot. No negatives about Jafar. I'm not joking. Okay, so how I listed that Mina Mossad, it felt like he could have been a great Aladdin, and there was a lot of potential there that just got basically wasted or taken back. That's how I feel about this movie, actually. There is a lot of potential there that is done great. It shines. I'm telling you, when the music numbers are there, they are amazing. When it's calling back to the original and trying to be an actual remake, it's actually done really well too. And when it is doing its own thing, then things that I can't mention because of spoilers, but when it's doing its own thing, it is great. However, it just crashes and burns. I'm not sure who's responsible for this. They did not have a solid footing on what they wanted this movie to be, in my opinion. And it's really sad because the potential is there. I really wanted to see what this could have been and not what it was, unfortunately. Hopefully I haven't sounded too mean with this movie so far, but let's go ahead and talk about some positives. One of the things that I really liked was the relationship between Mina Mossad and Will Smith. It really felt like they had great chemistry. It really felt like the two were actually bonding as the story was progressing. It actually felt like Will Smith genuinely wanted to help Aladdin, so that was really done well. There's a lot of great visuals in this movie. There's a lot of bright colors. One thing that I really like about this movie is that it does separate itself from a lot of the live action Disney remakes. It has almost a Bollywood style feel to it, and that's done really well, really great. And again, if it had just solidified its identity, I think that would have been spectacular because it definitely solidifies itself visually from the rest of the live action Disney remakes. One thing that I really liked was how Aladdin was trying to win Princess Jasmine over. I really felt like Aladdin was truly in love with her. I really do feel like his intentions were definitely pure of heart, and I really appreciate the effort that this boy is going through to trying to win her over, and it was really sweet. I like that. The biggest strength that this movie has, in my opinion, is its message. That was done really well, but unfortunately gets overlooked by a lot of other things in the film. But again, going back to that line where Will Smith says, "I changed nothing on the inside." That applies to so many more characters than Aladdin, and it goes beyond that. I think it should have been executed a lot better, but the biggest strength in this movie above anything else is its message, and I think that's great. That's great for kids, that's great for teenagers, that's great for adults. That's something that definitely got overlooked that should have been emphasized a lot more on. So yeah, I hope this review didn't come out sounding too negative. Here's the thing, there's so much more negatives than positives to the movie. That doesn't really make it a bad movie. By the way, I am not trying to be soft on this movie either. Trust me, if there ever comes a movie that is utter garbage, I will tell you it is garbage. So far on this show, we have not had a 2, a 3, or a 4. Which brings me to Aladdin. Aladdin, I am so sorry. I really wish I could have given you more, but you get a 5 out of 10. As far as this movie goes, would I recommend it? Yes, but it is a very hard sell. It's not a bad movie. It's just okay at the end of the day. Like always, I appreciate it. Appreciate your views. Appreciate your time. And this has been DJ Myst. Peace.